We have a very stormy time period coming up. So we're going to walk you through the details and show you what we're talking about. Our next storm system, it's just now coming into the picture off the West Coast. That is starting to build. At the same time, we still have an Arctic blast that's continuing to impact a good part of the East with some very colder air mass, at least for another day. And going forward, we're going to be watching this much more active subtropical jet stream. This is the El Nino. It's finally starting to wake up down there in the south. And as it does, it's going to be able to tap into some of this Gulf moisture and set the stage for likely several rounds of severe storms and very heavy rainfall that's going to be impacting a good part of the East. So if you are new to the channel and like detailed weather breakdowns, hit the subscribe button and you're in. You get all my detailed reports on a daily basis, and I would love to reach 225,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and you can help me get there by subscribing to the channel and following all my daily content. So let's check out the temperatures, because it's cold, folks. I mean, there's that Arctic blast. You're still feeling the effects. In fact, we've got some single digits up there into the upper Midwest this morning as that colder air continues to drain. In fact, it's going to be draining all the way down into the southeast later on tonight, and they've even got some freeze warnings down here into portions of Florida. But further to the north, the lake effect snow machine, it is on, folks. I mean, some of these snow bands are pretty intense. Remember, this is the time of year where you typically get some very heavy lake effect snow, because these warm lake waters are still warm from the fall months, and as all you need is some cold air to the north, and you get the wind direction and just the perfect alignment, and that sets 1 to 3 inch per hour snowfall rates across the upper UP of Michigan. Then down here towards Cleveland, back into Buffalo, places like into upstate New York. I saw one bullseye this morning already at 18 inches of very heavy snow. So that's going to continue as the winds going to be continuing out of the northwest. And yes, further south, those are your freeze warnings. So some of these areas have yet experienced a freeze so far this season, and you're going to get it tonight all the way down to the coast. That's the I-10 corridor, folks. We're talking possible freezing conditions down there, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And those poor iguanas out there in Florida, they're not going to be standing a chance tonight, as temperatures are going to be dropping below 40 degrees, and they typically fall down from those trees when that happens. So definitely be on the lookout for that, of those falling iguanas down there in Florida. But here's the setup for at least another day, right? So going into tomorrow morning, there's the last hurrah, if you will, of the Arctic blast. It's going to continue to push out into the Atlantic here, and that's going to be replaced by a pretty warm air mass. It's going to be warming up pretty quickly across the middle of the country. We already see this warm winds coming in off the southwest, and the southwest winds, that is a warm wind, and that's going to be showing a sign of moisture coming back into play. And then we have our lift mechanism out west, and that will set the stage for possibility of severe storms as we head into Thursday. This is the latest NAM, folks, and this is actually coming in pretty bullish down there into southeast Texas. And actually, this could be a morning event. It could start as early as around 10 o'clock in the morning during the day on Thursday down there in South Texas, as we got ample moisture supply. We've got dew points going back into the mid 60s as the winds rapidly change in a big way. And we've got our lift out here coming in out west, and that's a lot of moisture returning as well. This is your water vapor transport index, as essentially it taps into that moisture from the Gulf, which is basically east of the I-35 corridor. This is pretty significant, right? I mean, so this is, like I said, I would actually say this is becoming a little bit more severe than what it actually looked like just yesterday with these latest high resolution runs that are coming in. And the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center does in fact include this risk down there into southeast Texas. And this would likely be all three modes of severe storms: large hail, damaging winds, and yes, we're talking about an isolated tornado threat. And don't let your guard down, because again, this could be a late morning type of event. This isn't not a late in the evening or overnight type of event that you typically type of see. It could be starting off in the morning hours and picking up during the afternoon, heading into the early evening time frame. So this is definitely a concern down there into southeast Texas. We're talking places like into Victoria, into the Houston Metroplex, down into the Beaumont Port Arthur region, up here to Lufkin. Likely this will be extended northbound to include East Texas. I'm not expecting any severe stuff in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I think everything will be further off to the east, but those tornado parameters are coming in a little bit more bullish with every guidance run that we're starting to see down here. So definitely getting a little bit more concerned, and we're probably looking at an enhanced risk by the time we become to this event. And this would likely be all three modes of severe storms, and that's just the beginning stages. So because as we go into Friday, Saturday, this whole area rapidly changes after you're experiencing a freeze tomorrow morning. You got the warm winds coming back, southwest winds, moisture returns down this region. So the I-10, I-20, I-30 corridor gets pummeled with very heavy rain. And unfortunately, that does come with some severe storms. Now, this area desperately needs the rainfall, and they're going to be picking back up in a big way over the coming days, with just a relentless amount of moisture going to be moving in off the southeast, and then eventually heading a little bit further north into Tennessee, eventually impacting portions of Kentucky. And it's just about the warm sector, right? So it's a very easy gradient here, at least basically east of the I-35 corridor, down here into eastern portions, they say east of Tulsa. And this sector, this is the bullseye, if you will, of not only the warm sector, but where all the conveyor belt of moisture. So you're going to have to be concerned about severe storms and then very heavy rain. Some of these could lead to flash flooding, especially further south along the I-10 and I-20 corridor down there into the southeast. And then as we move forward and look at some of the temperatures, this would be your Sunday time frame. So we're talking about Sunday, December 3rd by then. Look how rapidly changes, right? So now we're talking 60s, possibly 70s. These are morning low temperatures as the warm air continues to lift up further north, even as far north as Illinois. We're talking places almost touching 40 degrees after they're back into the single digits this morning. That's how quickly things will rapidly change in a big way down there into the east. And as it does, here's some of the rainfall precipitation over the next 7 days. So we've got essentially two areas of concern. It's just the same area down here, up here into the Pacific Northwest. And this is typically what you would see this time of year. This is their rainy season up here, mainly impacting the coastal regions. But that low pressure center, the more active subtropical jet, it really doesn't get going. Yes, there's some moisture supply, and some of this could be on the form of snow, but really it doesn't get into the Gulf of Mexico, and it's really east of the I-35 corridor that has the main energy component to this system. And then once it gets east of there, Houston, Beaumont, down there in Lake Charles into Louisiana, into New Orleans region, these areas down here in far deep south of I-10, I-20, I-30 corridor. Yeah, look at the chart. We're talking 4, 6, maybe even upwards to almost 10 inches of rainfall. And that would just be over the next 7 days, folks. So this is an ample amount of moisture. Notice the dry slot in a good fair amount of country. So there's not much happening up here across the Dakotas through Minnesota. You don't get any snow. You don't really get any precipitation out of this deal whatsoever. All the activity is going to be mainly highlighted over the southeast and getting up into portions of the Ohio Valley. Lighter amounts as you swing further north, but still a good 1 to 2 inch, possibly 3 inches across the Northeast over the next 7 days. So beyond that, the jet stream does start to buckle a little bit. So whenever the jet stream buckles, that basically implies we'll have a colder air mass coming down there from eastern Canada. And as it does, we still got these systems that's going to be coming up. That is going to set the stage for more possibility of heavy snow as we get into that Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. So there's the setup around the 4th. We've got possibility of that heavy snow around the 4th, 5th, possibly 6th time frame, mainly going to be impacting upstate New York, but especially back into Massachusetts, into Vermont and New Hampshire, and especially back into Maine. Some of these areas in the darker blue here, yeah, we're talking possibility over a foot of very heavy snow. This isn't lake effect snow. This is heavy snow going to be tapping into that colder air mass. So by the time we head into that 4th, 5th, ending on the 6th, this is the main setup around upstate New York, getting into, northern portions of PA, upstate New York, into Massachusetts there, into Vermont and New Hampshire, and especially into Maine, because we're going to be having a quick burst of colder air by then. So notice the warm surge much off the Pacific. This is a warm flow pretty much all week long. This is just a pulse of colder air as that jet stream starts to dip. This would be 7 days from now. And by then, we're going to be starting to replace those colder anomalies back into the picture across the southeast by then. And so it's going to be a rapid change. So we're going to have a freeze tonight. You're going to have a rapid warm up by Sunday with quickly 30, 40 degrees higher temperatures. And then boom, more colder air comes back into play. And this is Thursday, December the 7th, back to freezing temperatures. Back to freezing temperatures in these same areas that could see a freeze tonight, could see another one in about 9 days from now, after the rapid warm up that's going to likely unfold, across this region. But here's the overall snowfall for between now and Sunday. With the Pacific air mass in play, there's not much snow to talk about. The only snow we're talking about is lake effect snow up here into across the Great Lakes region. That's still going to be dealing with some very heavy lake effect snows. And then, of course, the Intermountain West snows. But these are higher elevation. These are all mountain snows across this region. It's not until we get to that Monday, Tuesday, ending on that 6th time frame, that we've got that dip in the jet stream. That's going to pull down some colder air. Then we're going to have that low pressure coming in from the southeast. That's going to tap into that moisture. And boom, we've got 1 to 2 feet of very heavy snow across upstate New York, getting into Massachusetts here, into portions of Vermont and New Hampshire, and heading back into Maine. So this is a favorite area. This could all unload in about 24 to 36 hours with 1 to 3 inch per hour snowfall rates by then. And yeah, we're going to be left with very heavy snow across this region into the 4th and 5th time frame. So if you break down the precipitation over the next 7 to 10 days, there's definite two bullseyes, if you will. You've got this conveyor belt of the atmospheric river of moisture that's coming in off the Pacific Northwest. And then this low pressure center will be traversing across the west to the east, and it's not really getting its act together until it gets to east of the I-35 corridor. And then the very heavy rain really sets up across the deep south and into portions of the southeast, and lighter amounts as you swing up here and towards the Ohio Valley. And once you get up here and towards, into the New England region, but still decent precipitation as you head further north along the I-35 corridor, 1 to 3 inch possibilities between now and the next 7 to 10 days. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch the next update while I protect you before and after the storm.